Oftentimes, people consider Idaho to be the soul of skiing. It's skiing like it used to be. It's unpretentious, and it's just really great snow, tons of terrain, and it's under the radar. Anybody can go ski Vail. How many people come out and ski Soldier Mountain, Pomerelle?
Hey, this is Cindy Scott from Cinder's Travels. Welcome to the Local Snow Best podcast. This is episode 14. Local Snow Best is a bi-weekly podcast where my guests share the places and outdoor travel adventures they love most, right in their own backyards. Topics range from unique lodging options, treasured outdoor activities, favorite dining spots, and a breakdown of whether the Insta-famous and possibly overrated spots in town are even worth checking out. Today, I'll be speaking with Tony Harrison about tons of different outdoor activities in Southern Idaho, but with an emphasis on all of the skiing and snowboarding possibilities in the area. Tony was born and raised in the Spud State. He's a lifelong skier and the publicist for Ski Idaho. He has personally skied at 12 of Idaho's 18 ski resorts in the last 3 years. His love for the great outdoors has left him with a wealth of insider knowledge about all of the area's outdoor recreation options. When Tony's not skiing, he maintains a solo PR practice working with various clients in the tourism, tech, and agricultural industries. If you want to follow along with links to all the places we're talking about and a map of the area, this episode's show notes can be found at localsnowbestpodcast.com/14. Thanks so much for listening. Let's get into the episode. Hey, Tony, thanks so much for joining me today.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
Today, I wanted to jump into an episode that embraces the winter season and all of the fun sports that come along with it. I'm excited to get into it and chat skiing, tubing, all the fun things we can be doing in Idaho in the winter.
Well, I'm excited too. I'm super excited that you invited me to join your podcast.
Tell us a little bit about the area we're going to talk about today.
So we're talking about Southern Idaho, which is a region of the state just about 2 hours southeast of Boise, which is the capital city. It's known as the Magic Valley because just about anything will grow there. It's a huge agricultural region of our state.
Okay, and what makes you an expert on this area of Idaho?
Well, for a number of reasons. I've been working with Ski Idaho for 4 seasons now and have been a lifelong skier. I'm turning 57 here shortly, and I've been skiing in Idaho since I was 5 years old. And my in-laws have a dairy farm in the region, so I've been married into the dairy farm for 30 years now, so yeah.
Okay. And what got you into skiing? Where did that love begin?
My parents started me skiing when I was in kindergarten. I started wearing those leather boots and cable bindings on the skis, and I loved it. It's something my family, we always did. My parents got us family season passes at our local ski hill, which is Bogus Basin, and had a passion for the sport ever since.
So I tend to be a very adventurous person. I specifically love anything I can get on that will go fast, but skis, whether on water or snow, have always kind of wigged me out. And I know it's partially because I had an accident when I was younger. I was like coming off the tow rope and down the hill. Somebody lost control behind me and ran over the front of my skis and flung me out of mine. And I woke up in the, medical center. And I've always been really nervous to go back for it since then. But I am always interested in giving something a try, especially if someone can help me kind of get back up on the horse, so to say. And so for someone in my situation, what's something that can help us get back out there?
Well, I think you need to build your confidence back up for one thing. And the way to do that is to visit a resort that has a great ski or snowboard instruction program. And the mountains that we're talking about today, in particular Pomerelle, Soldier Mountain and Magic Mountain, but in particular Pomerelle, they have got amazing ski and snowboard instruction programs. Pomerelle, the director of ski instruction, he's been skiing that mountain for over 50 years and teaching on it for over 40 years. And a lot of the ski instructors have been teaching on that mountain for 30 years or more. So they've got a great instruction program. And then they've also got the best beginner terrain I've ever seen. They've got not only a magic carpet for the very earliest of beginners, but they've got a really nice chairlift that goes almost up the entire mountain. And the pitch to the terrain is really gentle. And one of their trademarks is how well they groom it. So if snow hasn't fallen, boy, I can't tell you how important somebody's grooming operations are, because they can move that snow around. And if it's gotten icy or crusty at all, that grooming is going to make it just perfect. So the snow is just always nice, and they just have such fantastic instructors.
So I'm hearing somewhere with a lot of experience, a great beginner program, and instructors that have been around for a while. These are all core elements.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, let's go back into your spot of the states. What really makes Southern Idaho so awesome?
Well, from a skiing standpoint, the mountains are really inexpensive to ski. Magic Mountain is $36 a day for an adult lift ticket, and Soldier Mountain and Pomerelle are $47 and $48 a day. So they're inexpensive. Also, very short lift lines. I mean, you might have some long lift lines on a POW day. We all look out for that, but that's also part of the splendor of it. I mean, I've spent 3 of my best days of my life on skis at 2 of those mountains.
Wow. Sounds great then. Is there a best or worst time to visit this area of Southern Idaho? I mean, obviously, it kind of sounds like the winter is the best.
Well, winter and summer. For winter, I would say mid-January through late February is the very best time, because you're almost guaranteed that there's going to be good snow. You know, prior to the holidays, we're still getting some snowfall, and then the holidays are super busy. But yeah, that mid-January to end of February is the primo spot. Oh, I would say it's always good to plan a trip like this midweek if you can, because you're going to beat the crowds on those days for sure. I love skiing midweek, and you could structure a trip like this to where, like Pomerelle, they're open 7 days a week, and the other mountains are open Thursdays through Sundays. So you could fly into market and be on skis like at Pomerelle Tuesday and Wednesday, and then go hit the other mountains up if you were trying to ski some other places. It's all super easy to get to, by the way. You can fly in and out of Boise, which is 2 hours away. You can fly in and out of Salt Lake, which is 3 hours away, or you can fly directly into the Magic Valley Regional Airport, which enjoys 3 flights daily from Salt Lake via Delta. So it's super accessible. But summer is a fantastic time to visit Southern Idaho as well. We're in a high desert area, so actually a lot of the summer activities you can still engage in during winter or during the shoulder seasons. Southern Idaho has people kayaking, base jumping, mountain biking all year, since the region is high desert.
Nice. So what time of year in this episode are we having our perfect day that we're going to walk through with you?
I'd say right now, early February, we're getting hit with a lot of snow, and we're having POW days like every other day, it seems like. It's fantastic. But we'll still have good snow here through end of February and into March. Some of our ski resorts will be open even into like mid-April. A lot of them, they end up closing down, not because of a lack of snow, but because people start thinking about golfing and things like that and put their skis away.
Well, let's go into your perfect day. Let's start off with, where are we waking up?
So we're waking up maybe in Twin Falls, which is a great kind of central area for the region. You're hour and 15 minutes from Pomerelle. You're about hour from Magic Mountain. You're hour and 15 minutes, maybe hour and a half from Soldier Mountain. So I'm waking up at one of the nice hotels there in town, or at one of the nice vacation rentals, and I'm looking at the weather. I'm looking at Open Snow's Idaho Daily Snow blog. Steve Stubner, who's the blogger, he's blogging every weekday about what's happening at Idaho ski hills. And he's really good at tracking the weather. So I like to follow his blog every day and see where it might have dumped some snow and bolt into it. So I'm going to get up early. I'm going to try and get there in time to get my gear on and be ready to make some first tracks hitting the chairlift when it opens. Chairlifts usually start turning at 9. So I try and get in the parking lot no later than 8:30. So I'm all geared up and ready to go and slapping my skis on at 9 o'clock and catching that chairlift.
So you're staying right in the middle there so you can go to whichever one had the best snow overnight.
Exactly.
So do you get breakfast in town and then go, or do you get breakfast at these ski resorts?
Well, I'm usually getting breakfast to go. A lot of times I'm running a little late, so I'm just kind of racing to the mountain to get there in time for the lift to start turning. But there's some great places to get a bite to eat for breakfast. If you're in Twin Falls, if you're staying at the Hilton Garden Inn, they've got a great little grill in the ground floor of the hotel that cooks up breakfast to order. They've also got a really nice farm-to-table restaurant called the Yellow Brick Cafe that locally sources most of their food. If you're staying at Fairfield, which is just 20 minutes from Soldier Mountain, and it's right on the way to Soldier Mountain, there's a great little coffee joint called the Country Crumb, and they've got some good breakfast too. You can stop by there and get a cup of joe and a muffin, or they've got, I think, quiches and breakfast burritos, and head up the hill.
Okay, perfect. So I guess depending on how the snow fell, there's a couple different options. So we should probably go into each one and where we could be going from Twin Falls.
Let's say you wake up in Twin Falls. The snow's falling really nicely up there at Soldier Mountain. I'd bust a move to get up to Soldier Mountain and when the lifts start turning. They've got ski rentals and snowboard rentals there. You can also snowcat ski there. That's something that you need to arrange fairly far in advance, but it is absolutely amazing. They've got 2,000 acres of backcountry, and it's some of the best backcountry snowcat skiing and boarding in the country. And if you're doing that, you got to show up around 8:30 in the morning because they're going to take off in the snowcat at 9 o'clock, and they're going to take you up to the base area where there's this yurt, and they're going to do some avalanche training. They have all the gear you need, like your transceiver, probe, and a shovel in a backpack, and then you go up in the snowcat and you start making these incredible ski runs. I mean, it's just glorious. And if you book out that snowcat privately for 2 consecutive days, they will put you up in that mid-mountain yurt overnight, and they will send a chef up to cook you a gourmet meal. The beautiful thing about that is that, yeah, it's totally off the hook. And if you're doing that for 2 days in a row, you don't have to do the avalanche training the next day, so that you get even more runs in. And it's crazy how much money you save doing this. It's $250 a day per person, but if you book the snowcat out, which will hold 12 guests, you get it for $2,500 for the day. And if you book it out for 2 consecutive days, you get it for $4,500. So incredible value. And if you're an intermediate or advanced skier or snowboarder, it will be one of your best days ever.
So I'm learning that it's more economical to ski with friends.
Yes, it definitely is. Next, let's say you wake up and the snow's hitting it great at Pomerelle. Bust a move down to Albion and Idaho, which is the town closest to Pomerelle, and head up the hill to go skiing at Pomerelle. They're sitting at 8,000 feet above sea level. And they're in the path of a lot of the storms that feed those Utah resorts and Grand Targhee. So in a good year, they'll get upwards of 500 inches of snow, which is pretty amazing to think about.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
if you like glade skiing and tree skiing, it is incredible. Whether you like steep pitches or easy, gentle pitches, they've got glade skiing for you. Magic Mountain is this wonderful little mom and pop resort. It's owned by a couple by the name of Gary and Suzette Miller. And they didn't even know how to ski when they bought the resort.
Wow.
It is a labor of love for Gary and Suzette and their children and grandchildren, and they really try to make it affordable for locals. And it lies just below a ridge, so the wind never moves the snow around. They've got just great snow, and if you're an intermediate or advanced skier or snowboarder, they've got this cliffs section that people love to go jumping off of. It's a super fun little resort, and they've got people who've been doing ski patrol there for 30, 40 years, and they've worked at some big resorts, and that's their favorite resort.
Wow. Do you have a favorite?
Oh, I'd be hard pressed to pick a favorite. It just kind of
Yeah.
depends upon the day. One of my favorite ski trails on the planet is this trail called Instructor at Pomerelle. And it is just this nice, long groomer. It's what they call a dual fall line. So if you were to roll like a basketball from the top of a hill, that primary fall line is what that basketball would go down. But like Instructor it's got a pitch on the width of the slope too. So it's just a really interesting run to take. I mean, it's just out of this world.
Okay, so traditionally on the podcast, we go through a bunch of different outdoor activities in the area, but since we're going to be doing the same activity in most of these with either skiing, snowboarding, or tubing, maybe we just kind of go over our couple different options that we have.
The activities you'd engage in at the mountains kind of vary from mountain to mountain. Some of our mountains have tubing operations. Magic Mountain has a tubing hill, and Soldier Mountain is going to be adding one this season. So that's a great option for families who don't ski but still want to enjoy some winter sports. You can also rent things like snowmobiles and go on guided snowmobile tours and things like that. And there are tons of places to go cross-country skiing and snowshoeing in the area. Down near Pomerelle, a little bit farther south, there's the City of Rocks National Reserve, and that's a fantastic place to go snowshoeing or cross-country skiing.
Are we saying that we brought a bag lunch, essentially?
Well, all of these mountains have got lodges, and they're all offering food service this season. So at each of these places, there's really only one place to eat on the mountain, and that's at the lodge. They've been doing some things like at Pomerelle. They're doing takeout food in the lodge itself, so you can order some takeout food and then eat it at your car or eat it on a picnic bench outside the lodge. They've also got a slopeside grill that you can get burgers and hot dogs at. Soldier Mountain has got some great food service options as well. They've got a nice kitchen, and they've got new owners that are really kind of stepping up the game everywhere. And they've got a nice little bar area as well. And Magic Mountain has got a nice lodge as well and great food there. And the food at all three of these places is inexpensive. It's not like you're going to be eating at Vail where it's going to cost you $17 for a hamburger or something.
Yeah.
You're looking at $5 for a burger or something like that. And I want to say that's $5 for a craft beer at Soldier Mountain. And I think at Pomerelle, they're still selling craft beer in the cans for like $3. So
nice.
Nobody's trying to gouge you on the food there, and it's all good. This year, Ski Idaho and the National Ski Areas Association are encouraging people to use their vehicles as their personal lodges. And so by and large, I've been just taking sack lunches with me when I go skiing this season. And a lot of these places also, I don't know if they encourage you, but they certainly don't discourage you from doing après ski activities there in the parking lot. A lot of folks will take their collapsible chairs, they'll take a little fire pit, or a barbecue, and they'll cook up their lunches, out by their car. They'll sit out afterwards and enjoy a beer out of their cooler after a tough day of skiing. So that's kind of what you're doing lunchtime, is either grabbing some food at the lodge or going back to your car and eating your sack lunch or barbecuing something in your little hibachi.
Yeah, car party.
Yeah.
Okay, well then we've had lunch, and then we go back and kind of do the same things over again, right? Is there anything else different we'd be doing?
Just getting some more laps in, exploring other parts of the mountain that you haven't hit yet. Pomerelle and Soldier Mountain have somewhere in the neighborhood of 30 to 45 trails each, and Magic Mountain has its dozen or so trails. So you got plenty of terrain to explore. I kind of think in the mornings, you're kind of checking things out and seeing what runs you like, and then going back and hitting those faves that you enjoyed in the morning. And what I like to do is I like to get there early. And then if you're tired, you quit like mid-afternoon. I mean, when my legs start to get tired, that's when I start making mistakes and falling. And so my legs are telling me, you need to take a break. And so, maybe the mountain closes around 4. I might be heading out 2:30, 3 o'clock, depending on how I feel. Or if it's a glorious day, I might be trying to get there to be the last person in line up the hill.
Okay, well, when you're all done, are you going back to Twin Falls? Is that where you'd be spending your evening?
Yeah, absolutely. So when I'm all done, I'm going back to Twin Falls and either checking back into my hotel or getting back into my vacation rental. And during a non-COVID year, there are all kinds of great places to go dining. Some of these places are still open during the pandemic, at least for takeout or limited seating capacity. In almost all of our ski towns, there is a craft brewery or two. And Twin Falls has got two exceptional microbreweries there in town. They've got Kodo Brewing and Milner's Gate, and both offer great food as well. And the folks who own Milner's Gate also own the bar none nicest restaurant in Twin Falls. It's called Elevation 486, and it sits right on the rim of the Snake River Canyon, and it's incredible. They also, Twin Falls has got a fun bar called the Bearded Axe, where you can go do axe throwing.
Ooh, fun.
Yeah, you can't drink, your beers before you throw the axe. You've got to do that afterwards.
That's smart. That's a smart business decision.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's, some really great dining options there. And then there are some really fun other sights to see. Like if I'm in Twin Falls and I'm headed over to Pomerelle in the morning, I might get a super early start because just 15 minutes from Twin Falls is Shoshone Falls, which is called the Niagara of the West. And it's actually taller than Niagara Falls.
Wow.
And it's spectacular to see even in the winter. That time of the year to see it's in June when Idaho Power releases the floodgates for a week or so, and it's just incredible. That's a must-see site.
Okay. Are there any other sites like that we should see if we're going to any of the other resorts?
If you can afford the time, go down to City of Rocks, which is down in Almo, Idaho. It's south of Albion, which is the town nearest Pomerelle. And there's actually a great little vacation rental place you can stay at called the Almo Inn. Almo is 1 mile from City of Rocks. And City of Rocks is aptly described because it's got all these amazing rock formations. It's a world-class destination for rock climbers in the summer, but a great place to hike and to mountain bike as well in the summer, and a great place to snowshoe and cross-country ski in the winter. It's spectacular. And, the Hagerman Valley near Twin Falls. It's the area is called Thousand Springs, and it's because you've got these lava rock cliffs, and the aquifer here in Southern Idaho is one of the world's largest aquifers, and literally 1,000 springs just burst out of these cliff walls in the Snake River Canyon, and it's incredible. And I should also point out that we have tons of undeveloped and developed hot springs. Idaho is the most seismically active state in the lower 48, so we've got all of these great hot springs. So in the Hagerman area, you've got Banbury Hot Springs, Miracle Hot Springs, and Thousand Springs Resort. And those are nicely developed hot springs, and there's some great mountain biking in the area in the summer too. And Pomerelle and Soldier Mountain do lift-served gravity mountain biking, so you can put your mountain bike on the chairlift and then ride down. You don't have to earn your turns.
That's really cool. That's something my husband and I just recently discovered in Glacier, and we really want to get into that.
Nice. Well, you should come out here this summer. We've got some great places. And now I think 12 out of the 18 Ski Idaho resorts offer mountain biking.
Yeah, it's so perfect too, because the worst part about mountain biking is going up to the,
You're right.
and they just take you up there. It's wonderful.
Well, and it totally makes sense for a ski area to do it because there are 4 times as many mountain bikers in the U.S. as there are skiers and snowboarders.
Yeah, and it just sits there in the summer otherwise, right?
Right.
Also, I would kind of imagine it might sort of attract the same crowd of people, these adrenaline junkies.
I absolutely concur with you.
Well, was there anything else in our day? Did that sound like a good, perfect day?
Oh, it sounds like a perfect day to me. Hopefully it sounds like a perfect day to some of your listeners too. It sounds like a perfect week, just rinse and repeat.
Yeah. Yes. Okay, well, best Instagram spots. either at these ski resorts or in Twin Falls, is there like a place you really recommend?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So I cannot recommend Shoshone Falls near Twin Falls highly enough. That is a super Instagrammable spot. And then the summits of these ski resorts are going to be great Instagrammable sites. Also, Centennial Waterfront Park in Twin Falls. It's where you can launch your kayak or your stand-up paddleboard or your canoe to go up and paddle up to see Pomerelle Bridge and check out the base of the falls. And that's super Instagrammable too, because you can get the Pomerelle Bridge in the background if you're doing like a selfie. And there in Twin Falls, the Pomerelle Bridge is very picturesque, and it is the only man-made structure in North America that you can base jump off without a permit. So you get people from all over the world, all times of the year, base jumping off that bridge. And that's pretty fun to watch.
Yeah, I bet that is interesting to watch.
You'll just be driving across the bridge into town, and you'll see somebody leap off the bridge.
Oh my gosh.
It's pretty wild.
Yeah.
The mayor of the city of Twin Falls has done it a couple of times. So
wow.
I should say former mayor now, but yeah.
Not because base jumping went bad, because he got someone else got elected. Okay.
And then I'd have to say the downtown there in the city of Twin Falls is super pretty. They've got a really neat old downtown. The Snake River Canyon, anywhere along there is going to be really pretty and Instagrammable. And then you've got Box Canyon, which is a super pretty place to hike to, and this place called Blue Springs that you can stand up paddleboard or canoe or kayak to that's very picturesque. And this piece of terrain called Ritter Island, which is a historic dairy farm, is super pretty. And there are tons of Instagrammable moments with cows too. I mean, it's a huge dairy farming region. And if you like cows, you'll see lots of them. There is this place called Ballard Family Dairy and Cheese, and they make some of the best cheese in the country. They win big national honors, and you can go do a dairy tour there. I mean, it's a super small dairy operation, family run. They make cheese by hand there. You used to be able to book a day to bake cheese with them. I don't know if you can still do that or not, but that's very Instagrammable too.
Yeah. No, that sounds really cool. Okay, next I want to ask you, are there any overrated spots? Is there anything that draws a big crowd maybe unnecessarily in Twin Falls?
Well, I think Twin Falls is kind of an undiscovered gem. And I don't know if there's really any place that's overrated. I mean, it lies in the shadow of Sun Valley, which is America's, first destination resort and the birthplace of the chairlift. But I wouldn't even say Sun Valley's overrated. I mean, Sun Valley, for the very first time this season, got named the top resort in the U.S. by Ski Magazine. So it is far from overrated, them being such an iconic resort. Somebody might point to that, but it's hard for me to think of anything that's overrated there. I think people are definitely going to be hearing about this as time goes on because it's truly a spectacular place to visit.
Okay, well, this is a good segue to my last big question, which is, why should we be going to Idaho over some of the more popular ski areas?
Well, for starters, you should definitely pick Idaho over more popular areas to ski like Colorado and California because we've got very short lift lines, very inexpensive lift tickets, and oftentimes people consider Idaho to be the soul of skiing. It's skiing like it used to be. I mean, it's unpretentious and it's just really great snow, tons of terrain, and it's under the radar. Anybody can go ski Vail. How many people come out and ski Soldier Mountain, Pomerelle? You'll definitely have as much fun, if not more fun, than some of those big hills. You'll definitely spend a lot less time waiting in lift lines, a lot more time on skis. And the people are so unassuming and nice. It is really a breath of fresh air when you come here.
The soul of skiing. What a great claim to fame for Idaho. Love that.
Oh, thanks.
Okay. Is there anything else you wanted to tell us about yourself or how we can find out more about skiing in Idaho?
If you want to learn more about skiing in Idaho, you should definitely go to skiidaho.us, and we will have links to all of these resorts, including Pomerelle, Soldier Mountain, and Magic Mountain. You should also go to visit southidaho.com. It's Southern Idaho Tourism's website, and they will have trip itineraries for you and suggestions on places to see. And then visitidaho.org is another great website to visit. Tons of information.
Great. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Tony. This was a real pleasure.
Yeah, I can't thank you enough for spending the time with me today. It's been a lot of fun. And I hope you come out here sometime. We can get you back on skis and get your confidence up, because I think you'd have fun. You like to go fast, and we'll get you some good ski instruction or snowboard instruction, and you'll have a gas.
You got me really excited about it. I want to go give it a try in Idaho, honestly. Sounds perfect. Thanks, Tony.
Thank you, Cindy. You have a great day.
Thanks so much for tuning in. Once again, if you want to grab the show notes for this episode, head on over to localsnowbestpodcast.com/14. If you enjoyed this episode, I would love if you'd leave a review in Apple Podcasts and let me know what your favorite part was. Make sure to check out the Instagram post for this episode over at Cinder's Travels, and please feel free to share this episode with your favorite travel buddy. Thanks so much. Catch you next time on Locals Know Best.